The Witch Queen dropped some time ago and has been hailed to have one of, if not the best campaigns since The Taken King, with raid-like mechanics, an enticing story, and a plot twist that overhauls what we know about the Hive. But sometimes all these conflicts and twists can seem a little confusing with all the little details and large plot points scattered across the game. So here, why don't you have a simplified version of all of that? The campaign starts with Mars coming back from its absence into the void after a few years. Yes, the whole planet was gone. And Ikora Rei explains that Mars is covered with temporal anomalies, which are basically just projections of the past, or maybe the future. And while exploring, they find a relic that can extract strong psychic level memories from objects, which we then decide to use to make more weapons, via blueprint extraction. This is all interrupted when a Cabal warship carries in the barrel of a giant cannon, pointing towards a giant circular ship that we correctly assume to be Sabathune's ship. We go in guns blazing as we go into a skirmish with the Cabal on Mars. We eliminate all the Cabal troops on board and proceed to prepare the cannon, which instead of using conventional cannon ammo, we load ourselves in and use it to launch ourselves towards the ship. We conveniently land on the ship's landing dock unscathed and bulldoze through the Hive forces as we go after Sabathune. This is where we have our first encounter with the Hive Guardian, a Hive Guardian that we show the Crucible experience to, and eventually kill it as well as crush its ghost like a light bulb. As our ghost ponders how Sabathune stole the light, we continue to chase down Sabathune, and for some hustle through the ship, we corner her in a room and gun her down with everything we got. Or just take her out with a single super. Your choice. As we kill her and she falls to the floor, it's revealed, surprise surprise, that it was all an illusion just for a little prank of hers. She proceeds to use space magic to snare us and launch us at max speed through her ship, where we crash onto Mars' surface. When we are able to gather ourselves again, Ikora Rei tells us that we need to enter and investigate Sabathune's throne world. We enter a bright and colorful garden fortress filled with Hive. As we gun down Hive forces and take out a light-bearing knight, we get a call from someone named Finch. He tells you to get out of here and get to somewhere safe, which we obviously ignore and start bowling through the Hive to get to his location. On our way there, we eventually find some gassy psychic orb that we conveniently get psychic magic from called Deep Sight, allowing us to create platforms to areas out of thin air via psychic memories, which we use to run through the area faster. We eventually end up at a swamp where the contact is waiting on a ledge, turning out to be a Hive ghost who ended up changing his mind about helping out the Hive and is ready for a career change. After having a little conversation, he'll get a new mission to enter an underground Scorn temple in search for Sagira's shell, Osiris' ghost, which is thought to have strong residual memories that we can use to gain info on Sabathune. After skirmishing and driving away the Scorn and their big boss named Brutix, we go deeper into the temple and swipe Sagira's shell, and before leaving, kill Brutix by destroying his power crystals, weakening him and making him vulnerable to being gunned down. Next, we go to the pyramid ship on Europa to find one of the darkness statues and supercharge our deep sight to allow us to extract the memories from Sagira's shell. Cabal defectors, remember we're allied with the main Cabal forces, seem to be trying to weaponize darkness artifacts for their own war efforts. So while we're at it, we decimate their entire foothold, destroy their signal jamming technology in the pyramid, and kill their commander. After all this, you just talk to the statue, and now your deep sight is supercharged. Next mission is pretty straightforward. Ikora Rei tells you to go to the Altar of Projection. The gateway to it is inside another Scorn stronghold, so after mowing down the area and doing some puzzles, we hop through a portal and go to the deep sight projector to project a memory of Sabathune using Sagira's shell, where she drops the name of the Witness, one of the many names for a high dark being that she seems to fear. Finch then notifies us about our new mission, to collect a piece of an ancient Hive relic called the Tablet of Ruin, which was the scripture of orcs that we can use to extract Sabathune's memories from and gain info from it. Plowing through the first few rooms in a section of the fort in Sabathune's throne world, we finally get to a place for a flying boat ride to the next section, a zombie forest that slows you down via darkness debuffs and filled with kamikaze explosive Scorn. After decommissioning several hundred more Scorn and a bit of Hive, we leave the forest to enter a Hive temple, eventually confronting Alakul, a high-ranking Hive warrior. After taking out his forces and then himself, we gain access to the Tablet of Ruin, the relic mentioned previously that was used by orcs to conjure the Taken. The memory extracted reveals a few tidbits about Sabathune's plan. She's attempting to capture the Traveler and seal it away to keep it safe, guised under her servitude towards the Traveler. Finch details the next mission being an investigation into the Temple of Sothona, Sabathune before becoming a hive god. He says that some good info could be found here, so we proceed to ram through into the building like we always do. After clearing out a few areas, we found ourselves in an area with a statue of Sothona in the middle, holding the calcified remains of a hive worm. And after doing a puzzle, we're able to get higher and grab it, which then triggers a boss fight with an Amkara, parallel to Ribbon of a Thousand Voices. The good thing is that the Amkara isn't as complicated. Killing the Amkara was rather simple. Just shoot its very glowy mouth between the time intervals where hunches of scorn start pouring into the room. After killing the Amkara, revealing that it was, in fact, an illusion, things start going downhill, as suffocating haze, an instant kill debuff, starts ticking down on your screen, which is stopped when leaving the temple. Conveniently, there are some well-placed pikes on the way out, which makes escaping much easier. Dashing out of the temple, we bring the worm back to Ikora for memory extraction. This memorial artifact is a kicker among the others that we got, as the memory extracted by Ikora shows that the Hive were tricked by the Witness into an eternal servitude before the Traveler could choose the Hive. The final artifact retrieval has us cleaving through a Hive fortress. Long story short, after deep sight puzzles and a few boss battles, we encounter Sabathune's right hand, her little friend she relies on for duties and such. Blasting down her forces and herself, we get access to Sabathune's crystal shard, a part of the crystal cocoon she was in for an entire season, because, well, she was hiding from her sister, Sivu Arath. It reveals that Sabathune quite literally died on a cliff near the last city after taking out her hive worm, only to be revealed to have been revived by a hive-aligned ghost, who along with several other ghosts felt sympathy for the hive and for reviving Hive after reading the Books of Sorrow, a book containing the summary of the Hive's history, at least from a Hive POV. Time for the final mission, confronting Sabathune, fueled with light of her own. She has enacted her plan to capture the Traveler to prevent it from falling to the hands of the Black Fleet, though its consequences to humanity would be unimaginable, which is the main motive to stop her capturing ritual. Rushing through the fortress and the puzzles within as fast as we can to interrupt her scheme. Making it into the open arena, Sabathune is waiting. We can see in the background that the Traveler is slowly being pulled into the throne world. Fighting Sabathune head-on worked for the first part of the fight, as she wasn't very durable and was spamming supers left and right, allowing us to subdue her with strong enough weaponry. But as her ghost revives her, she retreats and regains her bearings. As the next phase begins, it becomes clear head-on warfare wasn't the best plan anymore, as it seems she's powered up, as conventional weaponry barely did anything to her anymore. So, we resort to paracausal strategy. By killing the illusion clones of herself nearby, the ritual is interrupted and breaks open a portal into the background works of the capture, leading to a space where several hive wizards in their individual towers are weaving paracausal webs to restrain and pull in the Traveler. Eliminating said wizards consecutively slowly supercharges your power against Sabathune specifically, as it gives you the Thread Cutter buff, and doing this enough times allows us to whittle down Sabathune, killing her as well as completely crippling the ritual into dysfunctionality, as we killed all the wizards. Unfortunately, her ghost escapes, allowing the potential of her return in the future. This victory, though, is quickly overshadowed, as a cutscene shows us, the players, a dark, goopy person coming out of the wall, monologuing about salvation and the absence of life and death, revealing his plan to comprise thousands of Dark Fleet pyramids ominously floating in space, probably pointed in the Sol system's direction. We don't know what happens next until Lightfall drops in 2 years, but for now, thanks for watching and see you on the next video.